Hi, ThatPaulGuy. As some of you may know, a couple days ago I purchased this baby right here. It's an RTX2070 from NVidia. It takes up 2.5 slots, which is fine. I got plenty of slot space there. It also takes a minimum of 650 watts, which is fine because I have a 650 watt power supply in the existing computer, and so everything should be fine. The reason why I'm doing this video is not to compare the RX480 that I'm taking out to the RTX2070 that I'm putting in. Everybody and their brother should know that this is going to be far superior and it's going to give much better performance, probably run just a little bit cooler. It will take up a little bit more power, well, probably a lot more power, but it's going to offer much better performance. That's not the issue. The question is, if I decided to stick with 1080p gaming at 60 frames per second, would I have needed to swap out the 480 in the first place? That's what we're going to find out. I will run some benchmarks. I'll run some at 60 and I'll run some at the 144 and stuff like that. Kind of compare those results. Then we'll swap the card in just to see if it made a big difference. But the question is, if I had wanted to stay right where I was at 1080p gaming at 60 frames, would I have really even needed to swap out video cards? Or was this just eye candy? Let's find out. My basic conclusion is, if you've got an RX480 or an RX580 or an RX590, you've got a very solid card to run 1080 games on 60 frames per second. There was no need to swap this out if that is where I wanted to stay. Problem was, that's not where I wanted to stay. And I will go ahead and gladly use this card in another system because it's more than capable of being a very good video card. In fact, all the benchmarks and testing and all that stuff I did maxed it out at 60 frames per second. And when I let it loose a little bit over that, the 144, it got anywhere from just a little over 60 to 70. But still, when I locked down the monitor and made sure it was only going at 60 frames per second, it maxed it out. So it did a very good job there, and it was on high settings. So now my thing when I swap out for the RTX 2070 is I'm going to be working with 144 hertz, and I'm going to up the settings to like ultra and stuff like that to see how that goes. But that's a whole different video. That's a whole different thing. My conclusion for this one, very solid card. And like I said, if you've got one of these, the RX 480, 480, 580, or 590, you've got yourself a solid card, and I wouldn't swap it out if all you're wanting is just eye candy. So if you're gaming at 1080p and you're gaming at 60 frames per second, stay with it. The only time I would bother upgrading it is if you're upgrading your panel and all that stuff first, and then it's time to think about or talk about it. You're better off making sure you've got a solid GPU if you want to play that game, or more memory, or those types of things. But once again, my conclusion, this is more than solid enough for 1080 gaming at 60 frames per second, and I will gladly use the card again on something else. But that's all I got for this time, folks. So as always, you're welcome to subscribe, share, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me any kind of comments. What kind of video card you got in your machine? Do you know? Is it just a stock machine, or are you doing some upgrading, or are you looking at doing some playing around or some stuff like that? Just kind of leave me notes, or if you've got one, RX480 especially, or an RX580, maybe even a 590, let me know how you like it. Let me know what kind of monitor you're running, if you're trying to run it for more than 60 frames per second, that type of thing. So like I said, that's all I got for right now. So until next time, I'll see you later.